Video coming through clear. Everything good on that?
Do it.
I love that we always have like a 40-minute pod before the actual pod. 3, 2, 1. Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, Jason McKie in the building. I don't really know if this is better than my son's room, but it is the bones of what will eventually be the new studio. We're still waiting for some things to come in, but my kids need to sleep. So I'm back down here. We got a lot to get into on today's episode as we got to, of course, preview this game, take a look at the latest injury report and what the Bears have coming their way. And, of course, getting our McKeys to a Chicago Bears victory. As always, man, this episode brought to you by Underdog. Make picks, win money. J Mack, what's going on, my guy? How you feeling?
Good, Pat. I see the background. Hey, drywall is progress. That's what that means. So
is progress.
Hey, the studio is on the horizon. Excited to see.
Eventually, there'll be some nice TVs here. We'll have a nice wide shot. I'm gonna have that like Colin Cowherd joint. I'm gonna just be like standing here pointing out plays. Be like, J Mack, you see what I like over here? I love like the pressure from the left side.
I like it, man. Hey, you got to perfect your craft. It's close. Try to perfect your craft. Always maintain a competitive edge over the competition.
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
We're going to make it sexy out here. But, hey, man, we got to get into this game because, J-Mac, this is one of the biggest games the Bears are going to have this season. I've said, to me, it starts the gauntlet of games that aren't the gimme games anymore, games where you don't expect the Bears to go in there and pull out a W. To me, this is the beginning, of course, with Brian Flores standing on the other side of a defense or an offense that has to show now versus a defense that knows how you play, that we can still go out there and get this done. Of course, the divisional implications on this, if the Bears find a way to win and the Eagles can take the Lions out, the Bears at any point this season having first place being a reality is phenomenal. J-Mac, what are you expecting to see in this upcoming Vikings game as I think this is the first one where we can say in a while here, this is make or break.
Yeah, it is. I think it's going to be a battle. I think when you look at both teams, and I'll start with our opponent, the Vikings. Look at the way they lost last week to the Ravens. It was a close game. The Vikings had some, they were able to they didn't really do anything in the passing game. The run game, kind of led the charge on offense. The defense was put in, bad situations, had a fumble on kickoff return, which gave the Ravens an opportunity to score on the doorstep. When we look at the defense, they did a really good job of limiting a Ravens offense, right? They limited Derrick Henry, I think, to like 70 yards or under 75 yards rushing, if I remember correctly. They kicked, quite a bit of field goals. So you're still facing a Vikings team, right? Despite the 4-5 record, that's a really good team. They have really good players on their team. I know we're going to go over the injury report here in a little bit to see who's going to be available on Sunday, but you're playing a team that has, been one of your thorns in the division for a long time. A team that stole one from you in week one, and I know these teams are completely different now from week one. I'd say both of these teams have matured since week one, especially in terms of the Bears. And then looking at the Bears side of things, it's an opportunity for you to get your first win in the division this year. Yes, you're tied for the division lead, but you're 0-2 in the division, losing to Detroit and the Minnesota Vikings in week one. So, like you said, Pat, I think this is, without a doubt, a must-win for the Bears, right? It's a division opponent, an NFC opponent, and all of these things like we talk about each and every week, right? These NFC wins is crucial, especially when it's against a division opponent. You're trying to, make a push to get into the playoffs. So it's going to be a playoff atmosphere there in Minnesota. You look at the press conferences from Justin Jefferson, he's upset. He had one of his worst games as a pro. He says he needs to get back to that savage mode. I don't want him to get back to that savage mode.
I was going to say a pissed off Justin Jefferson. I don't need that.
Get back to it next week. Next week.
So there's a real concern for me, J-Mac, that this could be very similar, especially for the Bears on the defensive side of the ball. It could be very similar to what we saw in that Bengals game. Listen, you got two really good wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And you've got a couple of DBs right now in Deshaun Wright and Tyreek Stevenson who have been able to kind of fight guys off, but haven't been able to win a ton of those matchups over the last couple of weeks. So Offensively, I think there's a lot of concern there. Now, you did mention the injury report defensively. Right now, Christian Darrisaw, this is the last update. We're recording this before the Friday injury report has come out, and that might actually come out while we're recording. It did last time. But Christian Darrisaw, DNP, Jonathan Grenard, DNP. You've got Andrew Van Ginkel limited right now. Harrison Smith was a full go. Justin Skull was a full go. Josh Oliver limited. Metellus limited. JJ McCarthy was a full go. Ryan Kelly is still on IR. Aaron Jones limited. Theo Jackson full, and Will Fries limited. So they got a lot of guys banged up. On the flip side of that, the Bears got pretty healthy. The Bears, and I know it's a different NFL than you played in, J Mack, but I got to give credit to how Ben Johnson is handling this. You don't have a bye week the rest of the way. A lot of these DNPs that we saw on the Wednesday injury report are because of rest, trying to give guys opportunities to get off the field and recover from some of the injuries that clearly they are playing through. But the concern right now, I think the biggest concern on the Bears side, DNP for Jaquan Brisker, DNP for TJ Edwards. Now, there was a DNP for Joe Tooney. That was because of rest. That's why I brought up the rest commentary. Jade Walker, DNP with a concussion. Limited for DJ Moore yesterday, which, listen, at this point, he's Wolverine. I mean, like, he's fighting through a shoulder. He's had a groin. He's got so much stuff. He's fighting through everything. Roma Dunze limited. Josh Blackwell full. Kevin Byard full. He got rest the day before. Ruben Hippolyte full. Good to get Ruben Hippolyte possibly back on the field. You may need him, especially if TJ Edwards can't go there. Grady Jarrett full. Cole Kmet full. Dominique Robinson full. That edge pressure going to be extra important. I loved what we saw from Austin Booker in the pass rush game. Got a long way to go in the run, so hopefully Dom Rob can shore some of that up. Tyreek Stevenson full and DeAndre Swift full. So Bears getting healthy possibly at the right time, while the Vikings still a little bit banged up as they head into this game.
Yeah, I think, always looking at the injury report, the things, when I see limited, it doesn't really concern me a lot, depending on, I see limited and
depends on who it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like DJ Moore limited means he's playing. You know what I'm saying? Different guys who but when I see that DNP, I get concerned. So I think you said Jaquan Brisker DNP, right?
Yes.
I think you said DNP. So we'll see
Brisker
what that.
And TJ Edwards both DNP. Edwards still dealing with the hamstring. Brisker dealing with the back injury. They remember he went down, kind of was holding it. Finished the game with it, but clearly it's still bothering him.
Yeah, and that's what concerning, because for me it's like, having a guy on the back end along with Kevin Byard, like both of those guys are like the quarterback of the secondary. And when you're playing with young guys, you got a Nashawn Wright at corner. Tyreek Stevens is still young at corner, right? You bring in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's only been here for a few weeks, and having those two guys on the back end to be the quarterbacks to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of coverage-wise and things of that nature, I think is very important. So I think Jaquan not only brings a whole level of physicality to this defense because of his versatility, being able to play in the box, but also being able to cover a tight end, but being able to cover in general. And, putting him in tandem with Kevin Byard is definitely bodes well for the Bears. So I kind of worry about if he's not in the lineup, because of those things. So you will see. It is what it is. And like we always talk about every week, Pat, we talk about the injury report, and I say the same thing every week. Injury in the NFL brings about opportunity for somebody to step up. Yeah. And that's why you build your 53-man roster this way, because each and every guy is going to have to contribute at some point during the season, even the guys on practice squad. So that's why you got to make sure Ryan Poles and that whole crew, his whole crew, are making sure they're always looking at guys to bring in to help maintain a competitive edge or to fill a void that's left by an injury.
I know the mindset has to be next man up, right, J Mack? Like, there is no other option. So what did Ben Johnson say at the beginning of the season? We will have somebody playing left tackle. You know what I mean? Like, right. I guarantee you there's somebody that fills that position. But are we to a point with this defense where you almost have to look at them, and not to say you look at them, right, like there are no excuses, but it's kind of like you're doing all you can out here. You need everybody else to pick you up right now because, unfortunately, I love Tyreek Stevenson. He seems pretty clearly to be the number 2 DB on this team, and when you match him up against number ones, he has a tendency to get beat. Like, it is what it is. He's had a nice bounce back year. but at a certain point, it becomes too much. The linebacker situation, right? Noah Sewell feels like he's in over his head right now. Ruben Hippolyte has seen no action this season, probably because he's not as prepared as Ben Johnson would like him to be just yet, right? And there's a long way to go from college to the NFL, so that development has to happen there. Like it feels like you're to a point right now where you kind of just have to look at the defense and go, give us whatever you can.
Yeah.
And offensively, we need you to continue to do what you've done the last couple of weeks and pick us up to get us out of this hole.
Yeah, and this is a defense, right, that giving up a ton of yards. I took some notes. 6th highest in the NFL, giving up 375 yards a game, 240 pass, 135 run. Good God Almighty! But here's the thing.
Google it.
Google it. Here's the thing, though, Pat. Right? Here's the thing. It's a defense you give up a lot of yards, but it's a defense, right, that has thrived and that has put this Bears offense in good situations, and that has really helped this team win because of the takeaways.
Yes.
That's the thing, the takeaways, right? And we talk about that all the time. The takeaways is you get up a lot of yards. Yes, that matters. But the takeaways is crucial, it's critical, right? We saw against the Bengals, right? We saw Tremaine Edmonds get that takeaway. Yep. And yes, they really should have ended the game. We know what happened with the
crazy work.
The crazy work. That. But
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm calling everyone out the rest of the way. Every time I see somebody, I'll be like, he should be down because he was touched on the way past them.
And you look at a defense that I would say, I want to say opportunistic, but I don't want to say that. But what I'm trying to get at is a defense that
they'll gamble to get the ball,
but they've also they've made the big play in critical situations, right?
Yeah,
let's look at last week.
Yes.
CJ Gardner-Johnson, right? I mean, unbelievable sack on Russell Wilson when it mattered most. When the offense needed the ball back, you get a sack right there. Important time. And this is from a guy we talk about making the most of his opportunities. Yes, he's been around Dennis Allen. Yes, Dennis Allen was a part of the staff that drafted him as a rookie, right? He had some familiarity with the system, but he's only been here a few weeks, right? And he's come in 2 weeks. He has 3 sacks? He had 2 last week. He had 1 the week before. It's like making the most of your opportunities, right? Making sure you have a guy that can come in and execute your system.
I love that my husband's so handy. He leaves more money for the important stuff. Whoa. Gosh darn it, Steve.
Oh. Don't be like Steve. Call Avondale Roofing. DIY is for Pinterest, not your roof.
Because we hear Dennis Allen talk about it. The system is the system. You got to make sure you have somebody in that, you may not have all the familiarity with the system, but you got to be able to make a play within that system. If I'm designing a blitz and I'm bringing, in the terms of CJ Gardner, I'm bringing 3rd level pressure. I'm bringing that nickel, or I'm bringing that safety down to get pressure or to get a sack on the quarterback. Like, I need you to get home. That's why we're calling it. We're gambling here in a big critical moment, and they're making the most of it. So yes, to give up a ton of yards, but like I'm saying, they're making the big plays when it matters most. So it's not an opportunistic defense, I would say, but they make the big play in critical moments in the game.
We had this conversation on the breeze this morning, and I think that maybe it's me being right. This might be the Bears homer moment for me for the year. I'm sure people have said there's more of them. But I'll be honest with you, J Mack, like you laying all of that out, I feel like it's a defense that is taking chances to try and get to the ball, finding ways to take the ball away, and they're not all there. I feel like you have an improving pass rush. I feel like Montez Sweat starting to find his footing in this defense. Trevon Dexter starting to find his footing in this defense. This is a team that, in my mind, if the offense continues to improve, and again, that's yet to be seen, but in the second half of this season, if this offense continues to improve, we heard Ben Johnson say the expectation is to get Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson back. By the time you get to the playoffs, J Mack, like I see a road where the Bears could be contenders in this NFC. Like I get it, right? It sounds crazy. It sounds like, oh, there's no way. But you're improving when literally on the defensive end you have nothing. Yeah. Like it's you've got, I shouldn't say nothing, right? You got players that, like you said, are being opportunistic, are finding ways to take the football away, but your key guys aren't out there. You're missing 2 of the best DBs in football.
Right.
When you're going out to war. Like that to me is a team that, again, if this offense continues to grow, and Ben Johnson said we'll be playing our best football by December, you might be a team by the time the playoffs get here where teams looking around going, the Bears a little bit better than we thought. Like they might be dare I say, what we saw from Washington last year going on a surprising run.
Yeah, and here's the one thing that, when you when we're in it. And I say we're in it because we're analyzing the Bears on a daily basis. We watch the games. I'm right there on the sideline watching the games, and when you start seeing numbers come out, and it's like, wow, I didn't even, you're watching the game, but you're like, wow, I didn't even see that. Like this offense is explosive, man. Like this offense is broken.
That was me when Jamar Chase had 111 out of nowhere. I was like, that was a quiet 111, dog.
Yeah,
like,
you see what I mean? Like this offense is like, and to your point, I want to say quietly second in the NFL in terms of rush yards per game. But man, like it's awesome to see, because that was one of the biggest concerns going into the season. Even in training camp, remember, Pat, we're like, well, you were like, DeAndre Swift is a question mark. I was like, we're gonna be okay with Swift. But then we both were like, who's behind Swift?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you know what I mean? And no disrespect to Roschon. We didn't know Kyle Monanga was a 7th-round draft pick. Travis Homer is mostly a special teams guy. I don't know if he even does he have a carry this year? I'm not sure. If he
no, he does not have a carry this year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Travis Homer has under 100 career carries.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
he's not a guy that gets the ball a ton.
That was a huge concern. But yeah, they made the additions at center and both guard positions, and made the change at left tackle. And just like I keep going back to it. Like since they did their self-scout and evaluation through the bye week, and Ben Johnson was talking about getting this run game revved up, going back and going to the bare bones of the run game in terms of the fundamentals and their execution. Like I'm just so excited to see that it wasn't coach speak, right?
Yes.
It's actually, you see the results from them actually putting that time in, working on the run game, right? Not just the O-line, but the running backs, trusting their reads, pressing their aim and points, running with physicality. Like Kyle Monanga is a ball of violence. That's what I call him. He is a ball of violence going downhill with bad intentions. Like, and it's, you talk about the maturity from week 1 to where this Bears offense is now. That you see the growth, right? You see the growth, the maturity, but you see the identity with this offense, right? The identity of physicality, right? It starts up front, right? And I'm not just talking about physicality in the run game. I'm talking about in the pass game in terms of pass protection as well. Look at what Darnell Wright is doing each and every week, right? We've seen him doing something in pass protection that's like, wow, like this dude is like got dynamite in his hands. You know what I'm saying? Like he's touching people, and like, I mean, it's crazy. And it's that identity. It's that toughness, right? It's that, I ain't gonna say grit because that's that Detroit BS, but it's whatever it is. Like this offense is a physical offense, right? You look at, Caleb extending plays with his leg, taking hits, getting back up, going back to the huddle. DJ Moore, lining up all over the offense, taking hits, coming back in. Like you said, he's like Wolverine. He's back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Right. I look at an offense, and when I look at the identity of this offense, for me, I see an identity of physicality and toughness when I look at this offense. And that's something that we didn't have in week 1. So, and I think that's when you talk about making a run in the NFC, right? When the weather gets bad, when the schedule starts getting tougher, you're going up against division opponents. You have to have that type of identity if you want to succeed in the NFL.
No, 100%. And it starts this week with the Minnesota Vikings. Like, this is a team that, I'll be honest with you, how they played Caleb Williams last time, I thought was genius, right? They didn't blitz for just about all of the first half, maybe a couple of blitzes here and there. And then in the second half, you start seeing them sending the blitz much more consistently. Now, again, we don't know what kind of pass rush they're going to have. I guess if you're missing your key pass rushers that you can get home with you probably would expect to see maybe a little bit more blitz from Brian Flores this week. And we'll see kind of what the final breakdown is. But this is a team, I get it, 4-5, right? KOC trying to keep things afloat, rookie quarterback. There's a lot of advantages for the Bears right here, but this is a team that you absolutely cannot sleep on. This is a team that right now is 2-0 in the division. They're not out of it. Yeah. Like, it's not just, oh, you're good versus the Minnesota. No, like, you have to find a way to go out there and, like you said, be tougher than this Minnesota team in Minnesota. You already lost your game at home. Now you got to go into US Bank Stadium and go in there and find a way to dominate in their home, where they have the advantage, where they have the crowd on their side. Like, to me, I think that the Bears team that we saw early in the season couldn't have done this. The Bears team that is growing here and that is developing here, I think it's like you said, it's a very different team for week one. I think it's a team that's much more prepared for this situation. I don't think that this is a blowout game like some people are expecting here, but I do think Ben Johnson's sitting there with the dartboard and that fourth quarter collapse just pinned up there, and he's just throwing darts right at the bullseye, just trying to get everybody ready for that game.
And let's talk about it. You talk about the fourth quarter collapse they had in week one, right? That's what we saw from this Bears team from last year.
Yeah.
Close games, you implode. Close games, you can't overcome it. So the maturation of this team, right, from week one to where it is now, we've seen a team that's been down in the fourth quarter. But what you've seen this team overcome adversity together and turn those fourth quarter, turn the fourth quarter into wins, something we haven't seen, right? And we've seen Las Vegas week against the Raiders. We see a block kick, right? You see the Commanders fumble the ball, we recover it, go down and score. We saw what we saw last week. Like, that's the maturity when I talk about this team. You see a team that, right, okay, after week one happened, right? Fourth quarter collapse. Now we understand, we believe in our coach, and we ain't letting it happen again.
Yeah.
We are not letting this happen again, right? We're not going through what we went through last year in terms of the way we lost games, one-score games, giving up leads, all the things that went on last year. And this team has grown from it. And they're actually turning all that adversity and all that scrutiny that they faced in the past, and they're using that as fuel to help them, overcome fourth quarter, losing in the fourth quarter, helping them overcome fourth quarter comebacks and stuff like that. And that's a part of the maturation that I see from this team.
It's a mindset growth to me, J Mack. Like I think it was funny. Like, I know you were at the game, so you don't get to see it, but when you watch the game copy, when the Bears start to come back on the Giants, they pan to the sidelines. You can see it in Brian Burns' face. He knows what's about to happen. It was on the Roma Doomsday touchdown. There's still an opportunity for you to get a stop. There's still an opportunity for you to go out there and keep the Bears out of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see on Brian Burns' face. And the reason I knew you could see it is because we saw it all last season. We saw it in the faces of Jalen Johnson, of Jaquan Brisker when he was out there. We saw it in the faces of Kevin Byard, where it was like, we're going to do this again. To me, growing mentally in that way from last season to this season, one of the biggest things that this team can do. It's one of the biggest changes in culture. And to be honest with you, I get it. Like, some of it is, some of the stuff Flus did is common sense. Like, hey, don't give up 15 yards. Like every defensive coordinator ever doesn't do. You know what I mean? Like, it was common sense stuff, but you could tell in the faces of the players, they didn't believe in the message that Flus was putting out there anymore. When I see this team now, it's almost like Ben Johnson said, we down in the fourth. We got them right where we want them. That's exactly where we want to be, because we know we can win that game. There's a trust and a confidence in this team that Ben Johnson's going to call the right plays, that Dennis Allen's going to put you in a position to get that football. And I think that's a very dangerous team. And that's why I said, right early in the season, I think the Bears at times were real lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, moving forward, I think this is really who this team is. And I think this is a real football team that has a belief and a trust in itself that we can do. We can beat anybody. It's not about what the record is or who we beat or what happened, the point differential. We can beat anybody this way.
I agree. And I think with the way that, the season plays out, you're going to see with the opponents we have coming up, you're going to be in a lot more of these situations, right? And I think that you've gone through that adversity early. You're battle tested. So in the game's biggest moment, when you're down, there's two ways a team can go, right? You can grow apart, or you can move towards that adversity together. And that's what I see, right? Last week when I saw Caleb Williams come off the sideline and he goes to the bench, I see him sit right next to JT Barrett. JT Barrett pulls out that iPad and they go through that previous series, right? And I see Caleb, shaking his head, or him shaking his head in terms of something he missed, right? But it's never pointing fingers, right? And not at one time did I see Caleb Williams go over to receivers and say, guys, catch you better, why are you dropping the ball, right?
Yeah.
We saw people saw the mic'd up clip. Hey, we're gonna catch, guys, we're gonna catch this ball, we're gonna go down and score. He's galvanizing this offense, right? And when you have a quarterback that has that ability to galvanize this offense, but also when those guys look up at that quarterback and they see that he's confident, there's a belief that goes into it. So when I have a quarterback that gets in the huddle and say, hey, guys, we're going to go down, we're going to score, we're going to win this game. Like, and he's showing us the ability to do it. Like, we're confident. Quarterback saying that we're going to do it. We're going to do that. And there's been some times where, like I said before, I played with quarterbacks that have gotten a hold of and have said that, and they're like, we're going to win this game. And I'm like, we ain't going to win this game. We ain't going to win this game. Like,
you're not on the shout out to Al Harris. No Matt Hasselbeck. You're not here for the Matt Hasselbeck takes.
Right.
We want the ball and we're going to score. Instantly throws a pick.
But it's like, and another thing too, it's like, this team, I see the culture of this team really being put on display each and every week, right? And that's something that, us as fans and even myself now, us as analysts and stuff like that, like, we're not in the locker room, so you don't really see it. Like, I know a lot of these guys, I don't hang out with a lot, these guys outside of, the football facility and stuff like that. So I don't see what they do for team bonding and stuff like that. And all that stuff's very important. But what I do see is, I do see the defense, the first guys up to greet the offense, as they're coming off the field of an offensive series and vice versa, right? I see Jaquan Brisker coming up to Caleb all the time saying, hey, you got this, 18, you got this, you got this. And Caleb going over to the defense, pumping them guys up. I see Caleb Williams coming off the field, going straight to the bench, high-fiving all his offensive linemen saying, good job, or let's go, we got this, all the way down to the receivers. I see the running backs coming over, sitting with Caleb, talking things out, and those are all signs of a team that has a bond, that has a chemistry, and that chemistry leads to success. And I think, when you see a 6-3 record in the way that the Bears got there, it's because of that chemistry and them being able to overcome adversity together.
Yeah, 100%. The hope is that they can continue to do that here versus Minnesota. And listen, make it easy. My heart can't take no more. Yeah, I mean, we got the Blackhawks just giving me overtime games. We got the Bears just stressing me out in the fourth quarter. I can't take no more. I need a nice, easy blowout. Right. Give me a 40-15 win.
Yeah, I'll take it if we're winning. If we up and down, at least when you're up and down, at least the upside at the end of the day is a Bears win. Like,
it's better to be up than down. Yeah, it's better to be up than down.
Right.
Hey,
right.
Man, we're going to keep this thing moving along. We do got to take a quick break here to get our final pick on the underdog play here, J Mack, as we've got a few in already. Higher on Caleb Williams rushing yards, higher on Justin Jefferson receiving yards, 68.5, and a Colston Loveland anytime touchdown. J Mack, what do you want to add to our Chicago Bears versus Minnesota Vikings play here this week?
Let's put in a little Romo Doomsday.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rome higher than, what is it, a half? Well, they got 0.5 higher.
0.5, yeah.
Yeah, so higher, he's going to have a catch in the first quarter.
Anytime catch in the first quarter. Roma Doomsday. Big
Romo Doomsday.
Shout out to Papa James O'Doonze out there. You know what I mean? He's getting Rome all the touches. So big shout out to that. I love that. He was like, thanks, Pops. That's the funniest thing ever. In the post game, he's like, thanks, Pops.
That's awesome.
But no, man, like I think what we've seen out of Rome this season has been, I mean, phenomenal. It has met expectations for what you hoped you got with him when he was drafted. Yeah. The growth to me that still has to come is, those big catches when Caleb Williams is relying on you in kind of those tough moments. I'd like to see him bring some more of those in, but I think to me, I feel like wide receivers kind of, unless you're like a generational monster, wide receivers kind of take off in time, right? Usually by about year 3, you see that full on trajectory. And I think Rome is just going to continue to get better with time.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. I love Rome. The thing I love about Rome, right, and as much as we talk about his ability as a receiver, the thing that I've been most impressed with Rome is his blocking, his run blocking. I mean, Coach Johnson's motioning Rome, into the he's motioning him in. He's leading on linebackers, right? He's blocking corners and safeties off the edge. I mean, blocking them all the way to the sideline. Like, he has really, really showed me a lot as a run blocker, and showing the willingness to do it, because, some receivers, they ain't trying to block nobody. Just throw me the ball.
Yeah.
Right. Coach talk about no block, no rock. I don't care. Give me the ball anyway. I ain't blocking. And Rome is really it's the reason why this run game is second in the league, right? In terms of rush yards per game, because all these receivers, but I'm just highlighting Rome right now, are doing a really good job of really blocking downfield. And that's where those long explosive runs come from. It comes from your receivers blocking downfield. And I think Rome has done a phenomenal job, as a run blocker and receiver.
100%. It shows the buy-in. It shows the buy-in to Ben Johnson. Like you said, how many receivers around this league will be like, I ain't doing all that. Like, or you do I've seen, I don't know if you see like some of the videos that come out there. They got the agreement with the DB.
Bro.
Be like, let me engage with you, dog. And we're not doing that. Let's
they get the game plan. This is our game. One of my games. They get the game plan. So I'm motioning here. I'm leading on the Mike linebacker. Oh no, I ain't doing. I ain't doing that, coach.
Let me cut him out.
Right.
But no, man. Love what we're seeing out of Rome this year. Need to continue to see some growth in certain areas, but I'm very excited to have. It feels like last week is going to be a trend where you see Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, and Luther Burden leading the way with receiving yards and targets. Make sure that you guys get in on the Chicago Bears podcast play of the week. Higher than 23.5 on Caleb rushing yards. Higher than 68.5 receiving yards for Justin Jefferson, Colston Loveland anytime touchdown, and higher than 1 reception in the first quarter for Rome Odunze, or 0.5 reception. So basically, he'll get a catch in the first quarter. Any catch will do. I'll even take one of those, like he runs past Caleb and he just flips the ball up.
That's gonna be a boot. I'm telling you, he's gonna get it. I'm gonna tell you right now.
You gonna call the play?
I'm gonna call the play for you. All right, they're going to run outside zone. They're going to go boot off of outside zone. Rome's going to come from the boot side of the outside zone side of the formation, right?
Yep.
They're going to sell boot. Caleb's going to roll out, and they're going to give him that little flat route like they always do. That's the play.
That's been working well.
Well, that's the play that I see that Ben Johnson utilizes a lot early to get Caleb comfortable, to give him a reason, get him in rhythm, to create an easy completion for Caleb. And it's either Rome's the first level receiver, he's in the flat, or he's the middle guy, the intermediate route. He's really never the deep route. So it's basically you go outside zone, you boot off, and it's a flood concept on the backside. So you have levels, and Rome's either the first level, the flat, or he's the second level, the over route. Yeah, that's where it's going to be.
Hey, listen,
underdog,
dog. If you get that right, if you get that right, go with J Mack's picks every week. Download the app today. Sign up with the promo code CBP to score $100 in bonus entry when you play your first $5. That's promo code CBP. Underdog, make picks, win money. EOQ the disclaimer. Must be 18 years or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or over in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Welcome back into the Chicago Bears podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. As always, today's episode also brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field, exit 6, right off of I-80-94. All right, J Mack, it's that time in the show where you tell us how the Chicago Bears go out and get a victory with your McKeys to the game. J Mack, what are the McKeys to a Chicago Bears victory?
Let's get it. So the first one, I start on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to say it 3 times. Communication, and God dog it, communication, Pat. You know why? Because with a variety of looks that Brian Flores will give you with this defense, the variety of defensive fronts, right? The combination coverages, right? The mixture of coverages he's going to give you. You got to be on your P's and Q's. Everybody's got to be on the same page in terms of pass protection, offensive line, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, receivers as well, right? Does my route change if I'm hot, depending on how many guys they bring? All of those things are very important in this game, but not only in the passing game, in the run game as well, Pat, because, hey, They give us a front that we may not have practiced, we may not have studied. We got to stick to our rules in terms of that particular run that we're running and make sure that we have a hat on a hat, or to make sure that we have a numbers advantage in the run game. So that's why I said communication 3 times, right? Very important. Next thing, limit the drops, Pat. I don't know how many drops we had last week.
6.
But it was 6 drops. 6, too many. Can't have it. Don't want it.
The most
don't
by
need it.
any team this year.
Bro.
Possibly, I didn't check the Packers numbers. Possibly until that Packers game on Sunday night. That was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have it. Like this team isn't the Giants. I know their record's not that great, 4-5, but you're playing in Minnesota. They need a must-win as well. And you're gonna have to. You can't have if you have 6 drops this week. I don't think you're gonna win the game back. I really don't. So limit the drops. All right. Defensively, create chaos and confusion for JJ. Right. Mixture of defensive fronts, right? Get creative with your pressures like he did last week, right? We saw CJ in the action, right? Bringing third level pressure, mix up your coverages. What is Dennis Allen going to do? He's going to go man, he's going to go zone. We need to create confusion with JJ McCarthy, right? Because you're looking at a Vikings team that they've given up 34 sacks, 30 in the NFL.
Yes.
34. Right? Montez Sweat, you got a sack in the last 4 games. We need some more.
Sack and a half last game.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's had a sack the last 4 games.
He's gotten it. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Right. So we need some more. We need somebody else besides Montez, right? They did it last week by bringing CJ. I want a D lineman to get those sacks, right? I want to be able to rush forward and create chaos. All right. The next thing, like I said, get him on the ground. You created a bunch of different looks. You got to get him on the ground. So those are my keys to the game, offensively and defensively. Right? Make it hard for JJ. Get him on the ground, and don't let Justin Jefferson go into savage mode. Now, here's the thing. They got so many weapons, right? Jalen Nailors had a fantastic game last week. Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, right? What they do week 1, right? They had Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield knowing that they were going to get that mismatch, right, with him on a linebacker. So I'm interested to see what type of defensive game plan that Dennis Allen is going to implement. But I know it starts up front, and you got to create chaos for that quarterback named J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, listen, I want him looking around like he was week 1 in the first 3.5 quarters. He was confused. He had no. He was like,
that's what I'm saying.
I got who's out?
You blitzing? Are you blitzing? You're not blitzing. Oh, shoot, he's blitzing.
yeah. Especially with CJ Gardner-Johnson out there. Like, we'll see what ends up happening there. My prediction for this game, I said it earlier. I think this game is going to be close. I've got a 28-24. I do have a Bears win. I think that I will say this. I think it's close by the end, but it feels pretty controlled because this is a Bears team that has controlled the game pretty well over the last couple of weeks. J Mack, what's your prediction for this game?
Bears win. I don't have a score prediction. Just I don't care how they do it. Like I say each and every week, I don't care what it looks like. As long as you win this game, Pat, you're 7-3. Yep. You got the division win. Like,
hey,
you're cooking with hot grease.
J-Mac,
cooking with hot grease, Pat.
If the Lions get beat by the Eagles, which that Eagles defense looks crazy, that offense looks a little rough. But if the Lions get beat by the Eagles, J-Mac,
I tell you what,
we in first place.
They win this game. When y'all see the post game locker, you might see J Mack in there. Like, what is J Mack doing? Good, better, best. I'm being
J Mack right behind Kevin Warren.
You have Kevin Warren like this. Good, better, best. That's gonna be exciting, man. It really is.
Hey man, they're gonna put that in the next 1920 football drive, which we both made, by the way. That was kind of crazy. Like, cool. Hey, shout out to the Bears, cool, man. I appreciate that. I felt that was a real honor. I ain't gonna lie to you. It may be a small thing, but dog, like I grew up, cheering for J Mac. I grew up cheering for this Bears team, like freaking like losing my mind, flipping tables, like doing all kind of stuff. And so to be a part of the story is pretty cool, man.
That means you're doing a good job, Pat. That's what that means, man. All blessings.
I'm doing something right, and I hope they bring the pink slip right after. It's like, no, that was your parting gift. We getting you out of here. That was a parting gift. We like you personally, but yes,
I might get mine after this game. After I put Kevin Warren in a headlock, celebrate. We won. Yeah, we won. Oh, damn, I'm not on the team no more. Oh,
hey, I can guarantee. What happened to J Mac? Where'd he go? What happened? He go away.
Right in there
man,
with Coach Johnson, man.
we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For Jason McKie, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Let's go get this dub, Bears fans. Let's get number one in the division. I'm rooting for a Lions loss this week. Bet out. One love. Peace.